Hello viewers, you are welcome to my channel. Today I want to teach you how to hear God's voice clearly. Many persons don't know how to hear the voice of God or how God communicates to them. In this video, I want to teach you how to hear God's voice. If you look at the board, you will see there are some diagrams I drew here. We have God's voice, which represents God. We have man. Then man is made up of three things: the flesh, the soul, and the spirit. The flesh helps man to live on this earth, to adapt to the things of this earth and habit on this earth. While the soul is actually the man. These are peripherals. This one is also a peripheral to live in the spiritual realm. This one is to live in the physical realm. So that's the essence. You have this flesh. Without this flesh, you will not be on earth. So you will either be found in the spirit. So you are either found in the flesh or you are found in the spirit. But man can eventually exist in these two forms: spirit, soul, spirit and flesh. While the soul is the intermediate that connect them together for man to be able to get access to the spiritual realm and also get access to the physical realm. That is the essence. Man have both the flesh and what? The spirit. So God designed it this way. The soul is the mechanism of man. You know that if a machine does not have an engine, that machine will not work. So what made that machine to work or function is the what? Is the mechanism, which is the combustion, how it's being combust and everything, for the movement and everything. So the soul is the mechanism of man, is what makes man actually what? Man. And the soul comprises or consists of the mind and heart. We have conscience and every other thing, but I want to make emphasis on this. The only way man can get access to God is through the spirit. And the only way God can get access to man is through the word, the spirit also. This soul is here in order for this soul to get connected to this spirit so that it can receive from God. And if this soul is tuned towards the flesh, this soul will start receiving things about the flesh. In fact, if this soul is towards this flesh, this soul will not know what is happening within the spirit. The spirit is there. If the spirit is communicating to this soul cannot be able to receive from the spirit if it's turned towards this flesh. So the mind of the soul and the heart of the soul will always be connected towards the flesh. If this soul is towards the flesh now, will now be connected towards the flesh, receiving things about the flesh, not minding the things of the spirit. So when God is communicating to you through the spirit is receiving the message, but you have not received the message in your mind and heart because you have not turned this your soul towards the spirit. Are we together now? You have not turned this soul towards your soul towards the word, the spirit. So in this case, your spirit is activated, but you are not being activated to receive from this spirit because your soul is not turned towards this word, spirit. So what God will do, God will look for a way to turn this your soul towards Him so that you will receive from Him. Either by what? By God's grace, either by prophetic gift for you to hear Him, or either by what? Spiritual word exercise. So if we must hear the voice of God, God can eventually grace us for this soul to turn towards the spirit to hear His voice or receive information or message from Him by giving you grace, by gracing you. But also, you can also receive the voice of God or hear God through prophetic word gift. If God give you the gift, your soul and your heart will always be alert in the realm of the spirit to pick things in the spirit to hear God or receive the message from God. Now, there are some persons, they are not in this God's grace, they are not in this line, they are not in this line, they are not in this area. Yet, they want to hear God's voice. This soul, if it's not towards God, your mind will not be influenced by the Spirit to receive from God. Actually, when the Spirit want to communicate to the soul, it starts with the heart first, down to the mind. Before, that's the essence. If you receive message from God from your heart, your mind is trying to start processing it, making you to start doubting that it is not the voice of God. But if you keep turning this your soul towards the Spirit, there is a peace you will receive from this Spirit. There is a confirmation from this Spirit that will give you an alignment that it is God that is speaking to you, because the Spirit is always connected unto God to receive from God to give to what? Man. Are we together now? So, if you engage in this, maybe you are not flowing in God's grace. God's grace has not come upon you now for you to hear or receive from Him. If God's grace come upon you, what He does, He empowers the Spirit to tune your soul towards the Spirit, so that you will receive from God, either from your heart or what? Mind. Actually, start from your heart first, then process to your what? Your mind. Then, if you are gifted, your soul will always be alert in the Spirit to receive from God. That is the essence. It's not everybody that engage in spiritual exercise that hear the voice of God. If they have the prophetic gift, they are being gifted to hear the voice of God. This their spirit will so much be alert in the realm of the Spirit for it to turn this soul towards the Spirit, for them to receive from God. But if you are not in either God, if God's grace has not come upon you, or prophetic gift has not come, what you have to do is what? Spiritual what? Exercise. When you engage in spiritual exercise, you are training this your soul. You are exercising this your soul, which is this your mind now and heart. You are exercising this your mind and heart to turn towards this Spirit, so that this Spirit will eventually be empowered, so that you will be able to receive from God, because it is through only this Spirit, this place, that you can receive from God. If this Spirit is active, very active, and you engage in spiritual exercise, you have the prophetic gift and you have the prophetic grace, or you engage in spiritual exercise, or you have the prophetic gift, or you are being graced by God to receive from Him. Now, if your spirit is speaking to your soul, which is your heart, and you are not believing the word of God and you are still doubting it, what the Spirit will do, the Spirit will come to this flesh and speak to this flesh. Because at this particular time, this Spirit is more powerful, so it will overpower this flesh. That's the essence of persons. We start receiving vibration of hands. We start receiving some sensation, gospel, that God is speaking to them. Some person, their leg will start paining them, will start shaking. Why? Because this soul are so much engaged in spiritual exercise, so much, or have gotten this prophetic gift or this God's grace to receive from God. So if you engage in spiritual exercise and you keep practicing, praying, studying the word, having quiet time, meditating, you are actually exercising what Apostle Paul said, that they should exercise their senses so that they will be able to receive from God. That strong meat are for mature men, that those who exercise their senses will be able to discern between good and bad. It means that through this spiritual exercise, we can tune this our soul towards this Spirit, for us, for our spiritual eyes to be open to receive from God. So within this Spirit, it is where we receive from God. And if we are not in any of this area, we can't hear the voice of God. If we are not in any of this area, either God's grace, prophetic gift, or spiritual exercise, we can't receive from God. Some persons don't do this, but yet they have this and they have this. That's the essence of person don't engage in prayer, they don't engage in meditating. But if God wants to speak to them, God's grace can speak for them to hear the voice of God. Are we together now? The grace of God can clear the way for you and tune this your soul towards the Spirit so that you will receive from Him. If you understand this organogram and practice and engage in spiritual exercise for God to impart you with prophetic gift or prophetic grace, then you will be activated to receive message from God and to either see in the realm of the Spirit or hear the voice of God. I will stop here today. I don't want this video to be longer than this. If you have any question, you can ask your question on the comments below. I will reply you or do a video for you to understand better. Please like this video and follow this page if you want more content like this. Thank you and God bless you. See you on my next teaching.